Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops.
And we're going to be ultra competitive. We're going to be putting on the greatest shows with the greatest talent. And this is open season for great fighters in the US. If you're out there, if you don't have a promotional contract, if you're a world-class fighter, we want you from top to bottom. We're going to be bringing through the Olympians, the national champions, growing them across the country, boxing them 8 times a year, giving them the experience they need. If you're a world champion, if you're a world-class fighter, no more fighting once a year. No more waiting on your date. We've got the dates, the money, the platform to be able to give you regular championship content.
Eddie Hearn's $1 billion streaming deal. Stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, there was a press conference Eddie Hearn has been saying for weeks now. He had this major, massive announcement. He couldn't wait to drop the bomb, and he's going to shake up I shook up the world. You know what I mean? The whole boxing game was going to bow down. And there were some sneak peeks. I did a video about it, other people too. And there was a streaming deal, and it kind of leaked. Like, so, you know what I mean? Somebody on the inside in the know leaked the information. So let me just recap, because a lot of people are reaching out, tagging me on Instagram. So I figured you guys want to hear my thoughts. Some people just outright ask me on my live stream and stuff like that. So I want to give you my thoughts on the Eddie Hearn $1 billion deal. It's reported or estimated that over the course of 8 years, he's going to get $1 billion, him and Matchroom, with this particular platform and new innovation. So I'm going to give you my full thoughts, uncut, objective, everything. So if you're about that life and you want to hear about that, stay tuned. So Eddie Hearn, I'm not reading off any kind of script or whatnot. This is just all freestyle video, like most of my videos. So Eddie Hearn had a press conference in New York. It's Lomachenko versus Linares fight week. He had his own press conference announcing this. He's partnered with a company called DAZN, I think DAZN is how it's pronounced, and they're a streaming platform. I guess they've done like some, I don't know, CFL, the Canadian Football League, or NFL or something overseas. So they have experience in streaming, and now they're going to be working with Matchroom. It's a lucrative deal. They said over 8 years it should be it'll be worth $1 billion that he's getting, something like that. They're starting off with like 40 fights, some in the UK. 16 of those fights are going to be in the US, right? And people are talking about it. So let's talk about my thoughts, since that's what you guys came here for. I just mentioned that's what this video is going to be about. A lot of people, I can assure you, this video is 100% from the heart, truthful, and this is no hate. This is just my honest opinion. The deal sounds cool, but like, I think a lot of people, congratulations to Matchroom, congratulations to Eddie Hearn, but I think a lot of people get gassed up when they hear big bank and big numbers and stuff like that. For Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn, all the Hearn, Tommy Hearns, if he's related to him, right? Matchroom, if you work for them, that's great, because, you know what I mean, 8 years over the course of less than a decade, that company that you work for will get $1 billion or whatnot. But none of that, to me, I don't care about the price tag unless Eddie Hearn is going to chip me out. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, Boxing Ego, you've been doing a good job. Here's a percentage, or here's a lump sum. So that's great for them, but that doesn't mean it's great for boxing. We have to wait and see. But I feel like a lot of people keep, you know what I mean, look at titles and $1 billion. Like, that's great. But that, I mean, what is it? I don't really care about that unless you're sharing. You know what I'm saying? So the reality of the situation for me is this. I can't make an assessment until I get more information. For example, they're talking about DAZN, or whatever this company's called, was $20 a month previously. So I got to know the price point, because there's a lot. ESPN has their own ESPN Plus app, and they're in America. You know what I mean? A US based company. They have college football. They have boxing. They have some top ranked fights like Crawford Horn going to be on there. They're charging $5 a month. So if Eddie Hearn's DAZN, I see how he's going to get $1 billion, because that's 4 times the amount that ESPN Plus is charging, if that is the price point. But again, I haven't heard anything. So that's one concern I have, is what is the actual price point? And beyond that, let's say it's $20. For me, you're going to have to put on some really good fights for me to spend $20 a month. My gym membership, you know what I mean? And I can go there, I think Monday through Saturday, 24 hours. I haven't been, because I've been lazy, so I've just been paying for no reason. But I can go there 24 hours a day, except for on Sundays, right? My gym membership is right around that price point, maybe even less. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I have the freedom to go to. It's very open, except for on major national holidays. Sometimes they close early, stuff like that. So we're going to have to justify that. So the other thing is, it leads me to my next point. I got to see what fights he's trying to put on there. You know what I mean? Because the price point already sound, if it's $20, which I don't know. If it's $20 like DAZN has done in the past, then that's a high price point. But maybe it is justifiable if you're giving us the right type of fireworks and you're giving it to us frequent enough. You know what I'm saying? But that's something that has to be established. A lot of people get $1 billion. I don't care about that unless I'm going to see the money. So about the app, I don't know the functionality, how easy it is to use, if it has bug crashes, if it works seamlessly and smooth. I've never played with it. So, you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't even know how to get. Is it an app I just download? So that's what I have to find out, stuff like that. And then the frequency of your fights and what fights, because you can't just tell me 42 matches in the UK and I might not know none of them. You know what I'm saying? You can't say 16 US fights, but what are the US fights? Because here's another, I'm being 100% transparent with you guys. Here's my other thing. Daniel Jacobs, I know this for a fact, has a multi-fight contract with HBO. That's a fact. You can ask him yourself, right? He has a fight contract. I don't know how many fights. I just know he's under contract with HBO. Hence why he's been fighting on HBO against Zaleski and Luis Cuba Arias, and even the Golovkin fight. They like what they seen from him. I was at that fight. They like what they seen from Jacobs, and they had money to spend because Top Rank left, Al Heyman been left. So HBO invested in Eddie Hearn, who recently acquired Danny Jacobs, and they invested in Danny Jacobs. Great story, clean cut dude, hell of a fighter, right? So in my opinion, I think at least for the near foreseeable future, that excludes Danny Jacobs from being on this app, right? Because how can he be on the app, which has nothing to do with HBO, if HBO has him under contract? That's one issue. Two is this. Anthony Joshua, they've already built him. Eddie Hearn takes full pride on letting you know how big of a star and A-side Anthony Joshua is, right? So he's already an established pay-per-view star, at least over there in the UK. So are they really going to put him on an app for free? You know what I'm saying? I don't see that. It's just like when Golden Boy had this multi-fight deal with ESPN. They're putting fights like some of their up-and-comers, or Marlon Esparza, or Gabe Rosado versus Glenn Tapia. They're not putting Canelo on ESPN with their new multi-fight deal. You get what I'm saying? So the point being is, a lot of people get gassed up, but I got to see what you're putting on there. Because if there's no Anthony Joshua and there's no Daniel Jacobs, what US fighters do you have? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe a ton of fighters flock to Eddie Hearn. Oh, they got money over there. Eddie Hearn's a great promoter, and maybe a lot of people go. But to me, I can't pull no trigger and pay $20 until I get some more clarification on these issues. Now, if you announce this deal and you say, hey, $20, guess what? In July, Daniel Jacobs is fighting Triple G in a rematch on this app. Oh, okay, count me in. You got a July fight with Daniel Jacobs and Triple G, or Jacobs and Jermall Charlo onto this app? Okay, cool. Sign me up. Because that's a hell of a fight, and that's off to a good start. But again, I don't think Daniel Jacobs can be on this app until he completes his HBO deal. Again, with Anthony Joshua, right? He's already an established pay-per-view star. So are they really going to put him on an app for free? Like, what promoter do you know that is not looking after their needs as a business? You know what I'm saying? If Joshua is this extreme cash cow, which we all know, then why would Eddie Hearn reject all the money that he could make by putting Gerald Miller and AJ or Povetkin, AJ on pay-per-view in the UK, right? To put it on an app for free for everybody. I mean, this is not a charity. And I mean, I don't expect him to do that. So I would be shocked if that happened. If, let's say, Joshua avoids Wilder next and he decides to fight Povetkin, and then they put it in the app and make it free to all, whether you live in the US or the UK, it's free on DAZN app. I would be shocked. I don't think that's the case. Again, he's already established. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong, because it's a business. In business, you got to make business decisions. I'm a small business. I have a YouTube channel. I have the ability to cover fights, but I'm not going to every fight if it's going to be more of an expenditure and it won't be worth it and I don't want to go. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to Ghana to watch Josh Clotty versus Ungolo. You know what I mean? I'm not doing that. I'm not going to fly to Wakanda to see that. You know what I'm saying? So it has to make sense. And I understand business, but I'm just saying, as a consumer, people keep talking about this $1 billion, and that's great. But what are you putting on here? You know what I mean? Are you going to put Joshua Wilder on this app? Because if so, count me in. I'll buy it. You know what I mean? And I like to pay my shit up front. So, you know, $20 a month or whatever, I'll just pay it all at once. If that's the case. If it's going to be fights like that. Joshua Wilder on the app? Okay. I've been pushing for that fight. So, you know what I mean? Instead of a $80 pay-per-view, $20 a month, you know what I mean? 20 times 4, that would be, you know what I mean, $80. So that would be like kind of like buying a pay-per-view, one pay-per-view, if you think about it. Plus I would have access to all these other fights. So it really depends, to be honest. I can't get it ecstatic. And the other thing is this. Why do you think Eddie Hearn is fishing for different fighters? And it's funny because in certain regards, in my opinion, Eddie Hearn is taking subtle but not anything too painstakingly obvious shots at the PBC and shots at Al Heyman, yet he's trying to acquire Al Heyman fighters. It's very funny. It's very underhanded if you think about it. Like, you're bashing the PBC structure, how they did things, and they had investors, and basically alluding to them losing money, and they didn't do certain things, and we got to learn from the PBC's mistake and all this. But at the end of the day, where are the U.S. fighters that you're trying to fight? Because there's a lot of great fighters in the U.S. that you can't, because I think there's an actual rule. I don't know the actual section numbers and all that, but like, let's say Terrence Crawford, you can't bother that man, Terrence Crawford, knowing he's under contract with Top Rank. You get what I'm saying? Because how are you going to? Then you would have to buy him out of his contract or something, which takes money. You know what I mean? So you have to go after free agents. And technically, since Al Heyman is not a promoter because he's a manager / advisor, that's who he's targeting. That's why he keeps saying, notice how everyone that Eddie, see, y'all gotta study the game, study the rules, man. Some of y'all are real slow. That's why Eddie Hearn, all the fighters I'm hearing him talk about and that he's trying to lure, it's like majority of them are Al Heyman fighters. Oh, I would love to fight the Charlos. I would love to have them in my stable. I would love to have Deontay Wilder. I would love to sign Keith Thurman. I would love to sign who the fuck ever. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of these guys are Al Heyman fighters because they technically don't have a promoter, so they're open season. So, you know, I just, like I said, I'm open to new things in boxing, but I'm also a realist. And the thing with boxing, I told you, Dana White from the UFC, him and Zuffa boxing, they're starting their own boxing thing. I'm open to it, but I got to see what you do first. I can't just give you my full blessing and say, oh, you the man, Eddie, you the man, Dana. Like, you got to show me what you're talking about. What fights are they going to produce? You know what I mean? Eddie Hearn's, you trying to get all of Al Heyman, people that have been working with Mikey Garcia. Of course you're trying to get him. But UFC's trying to get Mikey Garcia, and they've already started talking to him. So, You better hurry up. The Charlos said they don't need a promoter. Now, money talks. Maybe Eddie Hearn can lure him in. But like I said, until I see what is either way, you still Al Heyman he's a boss, man. Because either way, you still got to go through the Godfather, Al Heyman. Because either way, you're still, even if you acquire Charlo, just like Daniel Jacobs, he's still advised by Al Heyman. He told you, oh yeah, Eddie Hearn's my promoter, but I love Al Heyman. That's not changing. I started my career with Al Heyman. I'm gonna finish it with Al Heyman. So even if you work with the Charlos, that's still gonna be their manager. You know what I'm saying? So he's still getting the cut. You know what I mean? And any of the great fights, let's say hypothetically, let's say Jermell Charlo says I'm going to Eddie Hearn in DAZN, right? Well, who is he gonna fight on DAZN? The only fights that people want to see him fight would be guys like Jarrett Swift-Hurd. Guess what? Jarrett Swift-Hurd is advised by Al Heyman. So Al Heyman got this thing sewed up, because even if you sign a few of the fighters, right? The fans would want to see them fight are still over there on the, let's look at welterweight. Let's say you sign Keith Thurman. Who do people want to see Keith Thurman fight? Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia rematch, those rematches. So either way, you still got to go through Al Heyman. There's only one really major fight for Keith Thurman that is not including an Al Heyman fighter as of right now. And that's, to me, Terrence Crawford, who's with Top Rank. But if you really think about it, there's not too many that are mega fights for Keith Thurman that aren't advised by Al Heyman. You know what I mean? Name someone else other than Terrence Crawford, right? That's with a completely different promoter, not like Richard Schaefer, because he's still under the Al Heyman umbrella. He puts on Showtime, not DeBella. I'm talking about a promoter that has nothing to do with Al Heyman that you want to see for Keith Thurman. The only person I can even think of right now that's ready, it's already kind of like built up, and people would be entertained by it right now. No hype, in 5 years we want to see it. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we just got to wait and see. We got to see what DAZN and what these fights are. But there's a lot of stuff that I have questions about still, and that's just being 100% transparent. And if you're a boxing fan and you don't have questions and you just like, oh, here, Eddie Hearn's a great promoter, take my money, then you're a fool. Because how are you going to say take my money and you don't even know what he's offering? You know what I'm saying? That's like if you went to a restaurant and they say, hey, our menu item of the day, it costs $65, but we ain't gonna tell you what it is. That's what the Eddie Hearn fans said about Wilder. They said, why should Joshua sign a contract if he hasn't received a contract? Why should he agree to the amount of money he requested? So like I said, if you went to a restaurant and they said we have the secret menu item, the food, the menu item of the day, $65, but we're not gonna tell you what it is. We're gonna just bring it. What if it's something you're allergic to? You know what I'm saying? What if it has shellfish in it and you're allergic to seafood, or you're allergic to shellfish? You get me? So that wouldn't really work. So, I mean, the questions I'm asking about Eddie Hearn's new platform and $1 billion deal, congratulations. But over time, I have to see what the platform is talking about. Yes, it could be very powerful, but maybe it isn't. It just depends on what they decide to do with it. It's a good starting point. You know what I mean? It's something new. It's something you have a company that's supposed to be good, but is this company really reliable? You know what I mean? Because there's been issues like when Mayweather fought Conor McGregor, some people had issues purchasing the pay-per-view. You know what I mean? So if there's a major fight, like hypothetically Joshua Wilder's on this platform, this streaming, have they covered an event that would be as big as Wilder Joshua? And can they carry that type of capacity? And they have the bandwidth and ability to stream in multi-regions, Africa. You know what I mean? Joshua got the Africa tattoo, and so he has Nigerian following. He has fans in Dubai, in the UK. Wilder got fans in Alabama. Can they support that? So, you know what I mean? These are questions that I have as a consumer before I buy. I can't just buy blindly without knowing anything about it. You know what I mean? What fight you're going to put. Because it sounds like Al Heyman has a lot of fighters that he's trying to acquire. And I understand he said, you heard at the beginning, he said, oh, we got the money, we got the platform. But at the end of the day, people want results. We got to see it. You know what I mean? I remember me and a bunch of guys, we worked at Sears Hardware, which is now closing, sign of the times. But this was years ago. And then one person went over to Lowe's, and they came back into the store after they had already made the switch from Sears to Lowe's. They're like, man, Lowe's is cool. It's closer to my house. They paying better. There's some girls that work there, blah, blah, blah. You should apply. And then another person applied and went over there. And then I applied and went over there. You know what I mean? That's how he kind of went back to his old spot and started recruiting people. So I'm sure that's how it happened. Somebody's going to have to take that plunge, and it can't be Daniel Jacobs because he's probably not going to be on the app, as I mentioned. So we have to see that first USA fighter signed to Eddie Hearn under this contract and see what type of fights he's getting. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hoping. I love boxing more than any promoter, fighter, or anything. I love boxing. So I'm not saying Eddie Hearn is going to fail, but I'm not saying it's guaranteed to succeed. It really is dependent on them. They got, like I said, they got the starting point. But look at it. Daniel Jacobs, he's had 2 fights with Matchroom, and none of them have been like bigger than the Golovkin fight, which Eddie Hearn had nothing to do with the Golovkin fight because that was before he acquired Daniel Jacobs. You know what I'm saying? So Matchroom is planning to invade and take over. I get it, but you haven't made Daniel Jacobs this household name. You know what I mean? You haven't put on a fight that was more lucrative or sold more attendance than Jacobs versus Peter Quillen, which was an Al Heyman production with his group of people, or K2 and Al Heyman, which was Triple G and Jacobs. So, I mean, to be honest, anybody they see Eddie Hearn, tall, you got the 5 o'clock shadow, clean cut, you know what I'm saying? Got a tailored suit, and he's talking the part. I'm from the Bay, so we don't, there's a lot of people that'll, you know what I mean, they'll hustle you. I don't fall for that. You have to show me. That's just what it is. Like, oh yeah, I got this, and then I got a Ferrari. Like, people do we call it selling wolf tickets. So I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna be for Eddie Hearn, but either way, you got to show me, because like I said, what you haven't turned you haven't produced like this, and this is what promoters I've noticed is a trend. Golden Boy, same thing. Take shots at Floyd Mayweather, take shots at Al Heyman. In essence, you know what I mean, talking about what they're doing, and Mayweather McGregor, you know what I mean, Al Heyman productions or fights that he's a part of. They say it's a circus and all that, but you're still trying to acquire Al Heyman's talent. Oh, I would love to sign Errol Spence. That's the fighter that got away. I would love to have Deontay Wilder come over here to Golden Boy. I'll make you a superstar. So I noticed that trend with the other promoters. They keep saying what Al Heyman's doing wrong, but they're still trying to acquire his people, his talent. They're trying to dip into his talent pool. So either way, Al Heyman's the godfather. You still got to go through him. But aside from that, you just got to show me. You know what I mean? And I noticed another trend with promoters like De La Hoya, also Eddie Hearn. They are banking off the fact that they have a superstar in their stable, a cash cow, but they haven't produced anybody else that's like that person. You know what I'm saying? Like Golden Boy, they have Canelo, huge star in boxing, huge. Matchroom has Anthony Joshua, huge star. But in the words of Jay-Z says, and I quote, I heard motherfuckers saying they made Hove. Made Hove say, okay, so make another Hove. Right? That's one of my favorite lines in that song. I'm going to say it again. This thing on? Testing. 1, 2. I heard motherfuckers saying they made Hove. Make Hove say, okay, so make another Hove. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about like the Jazz-O's and Dame Dad, all these people that maybe played a part in the success of Jay-Z. And he's saying, if you made me, then make another one. You know what I mean? If it wasn't my raw natural talent and a lot of stuff that I exuded, then you should be able to duplicate your success. That's what he's basically saying in layman's terms. So that's what I noticed with promoters. Golden Boy keeps saying, oh, Deontay Wilder, I would have Anthony Joshua begging you to fight. He would be a household name by now. But Golden Boy had Deontay Wilder. They were working with Al Heyman, and much of his early career, they had him. They had him more fights probably than they didn't have him. You know what I mean? He's done 7 title defenses or whatever since the split. But they had him for a large portion of the time, and then he wasn't a household name then. If anything, his name is the hottest that it's been ever right now. So it's easy to say, but your only star is really Canelo. You know what I mean? Same thing with Eddie Hearn. They've done a great job with Anthony Joshua. No one's taking away from him. No one's hating, nothing. But to make it sound like, oh, if I sign Errol Spence and I sign the Charlos, it's going to be the same deal and we'll make them into stars and we'll throw money at them. That's not, you haven't done it yet. You haven't done it to Daniel Jacobs. You haven't done it to Gerald Miller. You haven't even put them in their biggest fights ever. You know what I mean? You may put Gerald Miller in his biggest fight with AJ, but that's because you don't want to fight Wilder. So, you know, to me, the proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? Not all money is good money, because Rock Nation, they came in throwing a lot of offers to people. Like they threw $40 at Broner. They offered Peter Quillen a nice chunk of change, and they didn't take it. You know what I'm saying? But then now we see Rock Nation, they haven't really been doing much with boxing. Cotto left the Golden Boy his last couple fights. Andre Ward retired. Cotto, you know what I mean, got beat. Rigondeaux disappeared after the Lomachenko fight. So we haven't really seen them on the boxing scene with anything new. So, you know what I mean, maybe it made sense for Broner to stay put and fuck with the PBC side long term. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But people they act like because they have like a fighter, a cash cow in their stable, that they're guaranteed Rumpelstiltskin. Anything I touch has the Midas touch and turns to gold. But that's not the case. Until you get you an Errol Spence, get you a Jamel or Jamal Charlo, and make them into these blockbuster stars, then we have to, let's see it. Like I tell you, hashtag let's see it, LSI. We have to see that. Eddie Hearn so far is just what he's planning on doing, or we have the infrastructure to do all this. But he hasn't done it. He hasn't put Daniel Jacobs in a fight with Charlo because of Matchroom. Right? He hasn't made Jacobs a household name or Gerald Miller. He hasn't done those things. So, you know what I mean? We're going to have to wait this one out to see what it really is and what it isn't. And just because you did it with Joshua, it's different. You're from the UK, Joshua's from the UK. And the UK has a great fan base. But now you have a different puzzle because you're in a different region, a different demographic. Now you're going to have to make people like Jermell Charlo. Maybe they don't like him because they think he's too cocky or this and that. You know what I mean? So that's a different puzzle piece because he has a different personality, different weight class than AJ. So just because you did it with AJ, a built-in UK fighter in the UK, doesn't mean you can come over to the States and have the same impact. So we kind of have to wait this one out to see. But I noticed a lot of these promoters keep doing that. They keep saying, oh yeah, you seen what we did with AJ. Okay, but you have Josh Kelly too. And he's not a household name. He's a terrific fighter. I'm really checking for him. Not a household name, though. Neither is Dillian White. So, you know what I mean? Don't just act like Matchroom has this proven track record of everything they like, let's say Drake. I know some of y'all don't like him, but the fact of the matter is the man makes hits. He makes hits that perform well on Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, all that shit, right? Breaks streaming records. People are buying the single and million downloads a day, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So he has a proven track record of making hit after hit where they're radio friendly songs or people are fucking with the music. You know what I mean? God's plan, yeah. I only love my bed and my mama, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's been doing it. He's been making hit after hit for a couple years now. You know what I mean? Kendrick Lamar, The Weeknd, or whoever, they're putting out constant singles or good albums. Rihanna, when she does something, come on, rude boy, you know what I mean? Naked. You know, she's putting out hits. So, to me, Eddie Hearn hasn't showed. The biggest star you have is AJ, and you have no one else even close in the UK to being on that level. And you definitely haven't done it in the US. So, once again, show me the money. Show me you could take a US fighter and take him from a career of infancy, like the infancy of his career, and turn him into this popular household name where he's outselling Danny Garcia and Deontay Wilder at the Barclays. Listen, Gerald Miller and Daniel Jacobs are from Brooklyn. They're from Brooklyn. And you had a Brooklyn-based Barclay card that, attendance-wise, had less people in attendance than a non-Brooklyn card that was just like a week or so before. You know what I'm saying? With Broner and Vargas and Charlo and Tank. That's a factual thing. The Daniel Jacob Zaleski Daniel Jacobs being a Brooklyn fighter, and Gerald Miller, a Brooklyn fighter, fighting against Johan Duhapa. Those were solid. Those are cool fights, but they did less attendance than Wilder versus Ortiz, who neither of the guys are from Brooklyn. So, you know what I mean? The proof is in the pudding. So Eddie Hearn, that's a cool, lucrative deal for him and his company. Bravo. But you got to show me. You got to show me that you could build another star, like Hove said. Make another Hove. Let me know your thoughts. Mic drop. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.